Imagine living your life, thinking you know yourself, until one day, everything collapses, not because of what others did to you, but because of the small choices you ignored, the emotions you buried, and the time you wasted. What if I told you the greatest prison is not outside but inside your own mind? How Islam began. A message to the Western audience. In every corner of the world, human beings have always asked the same timeless questions. Why are we here? What is our purpose? What connects us beyond race, language, and borders? And while cultures have shifted and civilizations have risen and fallen, one truth has remained. Humanity has always searched for God. Islam did not appear in a vacuum. It did not erase history or deny what came before it. Instead, it emerged as a continuation of the same divine story that Christians, Jews, and believers of earlier revelations already knew. To understand Islam is not to see it as something foreign or new, but as a return to something familiar, something deeply human. The call to worship one God, the shared roots, one story, different chapters. Imagine history as a long book. Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are not three separate books competing with each other. They are three chapters in the same story. The Quran itself reminds Muslims that Abraham, Moses, and Jesus are not only respected figures, but beloved prophets of the same God. For instance, just as the Bible describes Noah building the ark to save his people, the Quran tells the same story, reminding us of the same lessons of faith and patience. Just as the Gospels highlight Jesus' compassion and miracles, the Quran confirms his purity and divine mission, while placing him within the wider chain of prophecy. In this way, Islam feels less like a new religion, and more like the final chapter in a book humanity has been reading for centuries. The human need for renewal. When we look at history, we see a pattern. Revelations are sent. People embrace them. But over time, messages are forgotten, altered, or limited to certain groups. Humanity always needs renewal. That is why prophets were sent again and again in the deserts of Arabia 1400 years ago. People were drowning in tribal wars, inequality, idol worship, and injustice. Yet, out of this chaos, Islam began not as a political revolution, not as a new philosophy, but as a call to return to something ancient. Worship the one God, live with justice, honor humanity. The story of the Prophet Muhammad. To make this real, let's tell a story. Imagine a man in his 40s, known among his people as the trustworthy, someone who never lied, never cheated, and who often retreated to meditate in solitude. One night, in the stillness of a cave, he hears a voice commanding him. Read? Terrified, he replies, I cannot read. But the voice insists. This was the angel Gabriel, the same angel who brought revelation to Mary in the Christian tradition. And this was the beginning of the Quran. At first, Muhammad feared he was losing his mind, but his wife Khadijah comforted him, reminding him God would never abandon someone who is truthful, who helps the poor, and who supports the weak. This moment was not the birth of a new religion. It was the renewal of the same truth spoken to Abraham, Moses, and Jesus. Stories that bridge faiths. One of the most beautiful aspects of Islam's beginning is how its stories mirror those in Christianity and Judaism. Mary Maryam, the Quran devotes an entire chapter to her, praising her purity. For Muslims, she is a symbol of faith, the same as for Christians. Ibrahim, Jews, Christians, and Muslims all call him the father of faith. The Kaaba, in Mecca central to Islam, was originally built by Abraham and his son Ishmael. Musa. The Quran speaks of Moses more than any other prophet, recalling the same Exodus story cherished in the Bible. This is why Muslims see Islam not as a rejection of these figures, but as walking the same path they walked. The message at its core. What Islam began with is simple, and it resonates universally. One God, not an abstract force, not many idols, but a personal creator who hears prayers and cares for his creation. Human equality. In Muhammad's final sermon, he declared, "No Arab is superior to a non-Arab. No white is superior to a black except in righteousness, compassion, and justice. Feed the hungry, care for the orphan, protect the weak. These are not side teachings. They are at the very heart of Islam." Is this message strange to the Western mind? Not at all. It is the same call we see in the Sermon on the Mount, the same cry of the prophets in the Hebrew Bible. Live justly, love mercy, walk humbly with God. Proof and transformation. Perhaps the greatest evidence of Islam's truth is the transformation it brought. Within a single generation, people who once buried daughters alive in tribal shame were raising women as scholars, leaders, and poets. Men who once fought endless wars became brothers in faith. The Quran turned a divided, violent society into one of unity and learning, giving rise to advancements in science, medicine, philosophy, and art that later influenced Europe itself. When the Prophet said, "Seek knowledge, even if it is in China," he planted a seed that grew into the golden age of Islam, a period that preserved and expanded human knowledge during Europe's dark ages. Why this story matters to you if you are a Christian. You will find Jesus in Islam not as a stranger, but as a prophet, honored, loved, and awaited. If you are Jewish, you will find Moses, Abraham, and David prophets you already know mentioned with reverence. If you are a seeker, you will find in Islam not just rituals, but answers to questions of meaning, death, and eternity. Islam began not as an Eastern religion, but as a human story, a story about rediscovering God, about finding dignity, and about uniting humanity under one creator. A gentle invitation to the Western audience. This is not a call to abandon your roots. It is an invitation to recognize that Islam does not erase what came before it, completes it. It speaks the same language of faith your ancestors once spoke. The Quran itself says, "Say, we believe in what has been revealed to us and what was revealed to you. Our God and your God is one, and to him we submit." Quran 29-46. Islam began with peace, mercy, and truth. Perhaps, if you look closely, you will see it is not as foreign as it seems. It may feel like a homecoming. And so, dear listener, we come to the end of this journey. What we discover together is not just knowledge, it is a reminder that health, peace, and balance are treasures we must protect every single day. Your body is your vessel, your mind is your compass, and your soul is your true anchor. If you care for them with wisdom, you will live not just longer, but deeper, stronger, and more fulfilled. But remember, knowledge only becomes power when it is applied. Take what you've learned today, practice it in your daily life, and share it with those you love. Because sometimes the smallest piece of advice can change someone's life forever. If this message touched your heart, if you found light or comfort here, then I invite you to continue this journey with us. On this channel, Tales Unfolded, we share not just information, but guidance, inspiration, and real steps toward a healthier and more meaningful life. So please, do not forget to like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to our channel. Together, we can build a community of strength, compassion, and true well-being. Until we meet again, stay safe, stay mindful, and may peace always fill your days.